When Gaddafi died, we saw Africans being taken by force in Libya as slaves, even post-colonial period. After Gaddafi died, Libya, which we're told it was under dictatorship and the most brutal man, has never known peace. It is under the group of warlords. It is under the group of terrorists, under the militia, and the people who are forcing themselves into power through a barrel of a gun.
So, according to the imperialist history that we consume today, left, right, and center, the former president of Libya, Muammar Gaddafi, was an enemy of the people of Libya, was an enemy of African people. He was a dictator, and not only that, but he was a terrorist. That is the reason why they eliminated him. Hello, my beautiful people. I hope you're doing good wherever you are. Welcome back to this channel. In case you're coming across this channel for the first time, you're also highly welcome. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet done so. If you believe in empowerment of the Black people and empowerment of Africa and African people. So I'm not going to waste so much of your valuable time. I'm just going to share with you an intriguing video I came across here by one Julius Malema. So let's watch this video together. And at the end of this video, we'll add our opinion, our voice to the same. So let's jump right into the video.
People, as we stand here today, Gaddafi should be an enemy of our people, according to the declaration of the Western imperialism, because Gaddafi stood for our people. Today, Mugabe, who was a darling, if you think Mandela was loved, you must revisit your history and check when Mugabe was becoming the president of Zimbabwe after the defeat of Rhodesia. He was the most celebrated man. He was loved by everybody until he started questioning the issue of the land, that the land must be transferred from the colonizer to the people of Zimbabwe. But when he was not advocating for that, especially after the Lancaster Resolution, they thought he's one such a gentleman who will allow them to do as they wish, until he realized that he was going to pass on without transferring the means of production into the hands of our people. Today, every African leader who served for a very long time in Africa, we are told is a fascist, is undemocratic. This person is a dictator. But such words were never said about Queen Elizabeth, who ruled for more than 50 years. And it's not just monarchy, like a Zulu monarchy or Abatembu monarchy. It's a monarchy that has got powers on the political systems of Britain. There is no any prime minister in Britain who can proceed with anything else politically without the go-ahead of the Queen, now the King. No one of those prime ministers can declare a war. Only the Queen or the King can declare a war. But that person has never been democratically elected. That person has got no term of office. They serve until the grave, and they are not called fascists and dictators. They do so with our leaders because they want to impose on us the imperialist bourgeois democracy. That democracy is when you go for 5 years and you are done. But as young people who are engaged in this space, you have a duty to ask yourself, how did we govern ourselves in the earlier primitive society before the arrival of the colonialists? And we're not asking here of an ancient history very recent, you'll realize that we were able to govern ourselves without being dictated to by the white people in terms of how we must govern ourselves. Today, we must be told that a good governance is a governance that complies with IMF or World Bank. Anything else outside that, even if your people are benefiting, you are not a good leader. Actually, you are a dictator. Let's go back to Gaddafi himself before he was killed by imperialist forces. Gaddafi nationalized the oil industry when he took over Libya. And he made sure that the people of Libya receive free health care and housing. The people of Libya actually used to get a piece of land for getting married. That's why many of you will remain single, because you realize there's going to be a problem here. I'm going to marry someone, and where are we going to stay? As a way of appreciating the young ones who are beginning to establish the family unit, Gaddafi used to thank them with a piece of land. Today, Gaddafi is an enemy because he stood against apartheid and associated with all African countries that were fighting against colonialism. Gaddafi is an enemy today because he stood with the people of Palestine. Immediately when Gaddafi died, we saw Africans being taken by force in Libya as slaves, even post-colonial period. After Gaddafi died, Libya, which we're told it was under dictatorship and the most brutal man, has never known peace. It is under the group of warlords. It is under the group of terrorists, under the militia, and the people who are forcing themselves into power through a barrel of a gun. Today, one of the most unstable countries is DRC. Lumumba did not serve too long, because when Lumumba came in, they realized that this guy is going to create independence in the DRC, where the most strategic minerals are found. Since the passing of Lumumba till to date, DRC has never known peace. They will never know peace because those who are exploiting the resources of that area are the ones who are sponsoring the rebels in that area. They don't want authorities in DRC, because authorities will mean that we must also control the airspace of Libya. And when you control the airspace, you know which plane came in to do what and went out at what time. They are sponsoring rebels, doing land strips in the forests, where they land and take the minerals undetected and leave DRC. Today, DRC was supposed to be one of the most richest countries, but the imperialist forces will not allow it to be. So, Sankara was killed. And when you think Sankara was killed by his friend, that one was just the one who pulled the trigger. But there are brains behind that man who pulled the trigger, who, by the way, was a friend of Sankara. Burkina Faso would have been one of the most beautiful countries in Africa had Sankara lived long. The man who said to his people, here is the land, you must produce for the government and produce for yourself. Sankara, who loved education. Sankara, who gave our people health care. Sankara, who knew that there will never be total liberation of people if women are not liberated themselves. Sankara, who knew that a political activist must be equipped with theory of politics, because a soldier with a gun without political theory is a potential criminal. That's why political education is always important. Sankara, who said, I'm not going to be part of borrowing money from IMF and the World Bank. So these leaders, I'm singling some of them out because I want to demonstrate to you that those who seeked good for us did not stay long.
Now, see, the problem here is the history that we continue to consume in our compromised school systems is the same history that has been written and rewritten by the same imperialists. The information, or if I might call it, the misinformation that is readily available everywhere on the internet, on the media, and everywhere else, is the same one that has been manipulated and compromised by the very, very imperialist. Now, what we have come to draw as the baseline here is all of Pan-Africanists, all of the leaders of the black people that have historically attempted to talk about unification of Africa or black people. You see, Africa is not only limited to the continent of Africa, but the entire globe, um, wherever the black culture and black people exist. Sons and daughters of Africa that have, in one way or the other, been actually have actually found themselves through slavery or other means outside of the continent. So any leader that has tried to come up with the narrative of Pan-Africanism, uniting the black culture, realizing the truth that our history has been compromised and manipulated, and that the history that exists doesn't tell the truth about us, has been, taken out, has been by design eliminated from the face of the earth. Now, there are a good number of them. As you have heard, we have Muammar Gaddafi of Libya, we have Patrice Lumumba of Congo, we have Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso, we have Kwame Nkrumah, because that is actually what also happened to him, of Ghana, amongst many others. And you probably are now thinking to yourself, "Oh, that is what they did to Africa or to us as black people historically." But I'm sorry to burst your bubble. That have you ever heard that history repeats itself? It simply means this is a trend. It has not. It's not actually history. It is a trend. It is a pattern. They have done it. They are doing it, and they will do it again if we as black people do not realize the truth, do not erase false history and rewrite our own history. When I say this, it's evident by the fact that leaders that we have today in Africa that attempt to talk for the masses, for the black people, that attempt to say, hey, no more exploitation of Africa, are under threat, are being, termed as or christened as, dictators, or, terrorists, or all those negative names. See the case of the three presidents of the alliance of the Sahel states. See the pressure they have to endure just because they said there is no more looting of our countries, there is no more looting of Africa. See all the struggles that Pan-Africanists go through, be they inside the continent or outside of the continent. And in contrast, try to compare with the reception the puppets without naming any of them, because in fact I think they are more, or they have they have more fame, of course, because the propaganda machine is going to shed to place them in good light. See what the puppets in Africa, in the Caribbeans, or those sellouts of African people that want to stay close to the white power structure, see the receptions they get just for being puppets, of course, for being sycophants. So what is simply going on here is Africa, Black people, we have to wake up to the truth, to the reality that, see, what we're being taught, what we know as the reality is not actually the truth. It is manufactured truth or manufactured reality. Who of us growing up never knew Mugabe to be a dictator? Mugabe only became a dictator because the West decided he was a dictator, because he started advocating for the land of the Black people to be returned back to the people who rightfully deserve to be the owners of that land. What wrong did Muammar Gaddafi do? Provide free healthcare, basic education, nationalize oil in Libya, talk about introduction of an AU, an African Union, that's going to be one bloc economically and politically, and control our resources, control our currencies. I mean, that is the only problem, and those are the ills, the evils that Gaddafi and all of others like Patrice Lumumba and Thomas Sankara did, that warranted for their unaliving, for them to be eliminated. So we have to see, we have to go back to our history, and we have to stop being negligent and ignorant, and see the truth, open our eyes, consume history, be, go down the rat hole to find the truth, stand and back Pan-Africanist leaders that are for the good of the general good of the Black people. So that is the little I had for you in this video. Please share your thoughts and your opinions in the comments. Like and share this video, but most importantly, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to this channel to support. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.